Hello and welcome to the Learning Love Podcast, brought to you by the Learning Love Foundation, helping people transform how they love, live, and lead. I'm your host, Dr. Mark A. Hicks, and I want to thank you for joining us today as we spend some time learning love. Love is the answer. Now all we have to do is explore all the questions. We learn how to apply the answer, which is love, to all the different situations in life. We learn the components, the aspects of what love is, and how do we live that out to build the healthy, happy, thriving relationships that we all want. And today, we're going to explore the question of how do I build trust? That's a question we all need to explore, especially early in relationships. But even as relationships unfold, things happen. There are hardships. We have struggles. We hit rough spots in relationships. And sometimes we have to build trust back. Not necessarily because it was something monumental. If it was, that's going to take a lot of work. There's ways to do that. If we did have a major line crossed in a relationship and it destroyed things, but we're trying to build it back, we're trying to reconcile our relationship, one of the major aspects is how do we build trust back? But it can't be on a smaller level. Things just kind of drifted apart. We had some struggles, had some hard times that weren't about the marriage or the relationship, but it was outside hardships, struggles, grief, trauma, whatever it might be. And that affects relationships many times. It pulls us apart. We grieve at different paces sometimes. And that can be really difficult when one person's in one stage of grief and another person in that household is another stage of grief. It can be tough. And sometimes that pulls our relationship apart. And we come back at a different time and we think, we need to bring this back together. We need to build our relationship back. We need to be close again. And sometimes that means learning to trust again, because some of that may have faded. Some of that may have some things get said that shouldn't have been said, and we kind of still hurt from that. And we need to build that trust back. So it can be at the beginning of a relationship. It can be after a major event, or it can be after more minor events in life, but that still affect us, particularly a series of events or a period of time when we weren't as close, we didn't do as well in the relationship, and we find that we need to build it back. We want to build up that closeness, that intimacy, that bond again. And we come back to that question. How do we build trust? Now, I'm going to do a couple of different things here. I'm going to tell you the big picture of how do we build trust? How do we do that? And then I'm going to give you a series of practices to do, a series of things that you can do in that relationship that will continue to build trust. So let's just look first of all about the big picture. How do we go about building trust? And I've often described the process of building trust as a dance. It is a back and forth. It is a movement together over time. And it takes a little while to get in sync sometimes. And that's okay. That's on purpose. It's really this back and forth of giving and earning trust at the same time. We have to give trust and earn trust at the same time, and both of those have to go slowly. If you just decide, I'm going to throw open the doors of trust, you're probably going to get hurt. Okay. If you're just going to be 100% trusting, I'm just going to force myself to trust 100%, you're probably going to get hurt, especially if it's a new relationship or one you're just sort of dating and seeing if this will work. If you are a 100% trusting person, a predator will see you coming. Okay. There are people in the world that will see that and they will hurt you. Okay. I'm sorry that the world's like that, but there are people that have predatory personalities and they prey on people who are overly trusting. So we can't do that. But if you're controlling, you don't give trust at all, you watch people every minute, you want to control their movements, you're never going to have trust in a relationship. Because if you are controlling that person in your life, that spouse, their partner, whoever it is, if you are controlling them, if you are watching them every minute, if you are keeping account of every movement they make, you're never going to trust them, because there'll always be that sense of, well, if I wasn't watching them every second, then they would probably do something wrong. You watching them is making sure you can't trust them, never giving them an opportunity to earn trust. People have to have the room to earn it. You have to give enough trust for them to be able to earn it. Now, you can't trust 100%, particularly if this is a stranger you're just dating, but you can give enough trust in the early stages of a relationship or in the stages of building back. Give enough trust to let them have room to earn it. And if they don't, if they betray you, well, then you'll know. And that may have to end a relationship. But people are going to make mistakes in there. And so, again, it's a dance. They're not going to be perfect. You're going to trust them and they're going to earn that trust, but they're going to fall short on occasions because people are not perfect. And that is this dance of back and forth of giving and earning and yet falling short in that earning and yet still giving enough to give a second chance and a third chance to earn that trust. As long as we're not talking about major betrayals, we're not talking about destruction, we're talking about mistakes, okay, errors. People are not perfect. And so it is this back and forth of giving enough trust to give a person an opportunity to earn it. And remember, this goes both ways. They have to do the same thing for us. This is what we're giving to them, and we're paying attention to see if they earn that trust. But at the same time, they have to give it to us, and we have to earn their trust. That's that dance back and forth, moving together to give and earn trust simultaneously in both directions. That's the process. It takes a while, a little complicated, but over time, that's what builds trust. As we give that trust while a person is earning that trust simultaneously, that's the only way trust can be built. But within that, there are some practices. There's some things that we can do, some practices we can adopt, and we can make sure we are bringing into our life that help build that trust, that help nurture the trust that we are working at, the trust that we're trying to build. There are some practices that can help nurture that. So I'm going to give you 8 of them. I'm going to give you 8 practices that can help nurture, that will kind of fertilize that soil so that trust can grow. So these are practices that you can bring into your life while you are building trust, doing this dance of earning and giving trust simultaneously. And one is work really hard at being consistent. Okay. And this is not about big things. Okay. This is about little, everyday, ordinary things. Try to be as consistent as possible with your partner. If you want them to trust you, let them know what to expect from you. Shock is not good for trust. When you shock someone, it's not going to help them feel good about trusting you. Let them know consistently who you are. Be predictable in your life, in all the areas of life, okay? Just the ordinary routines. And align what you're doing. Be consistent both privately and publicly, okay? If you have a persona publicly, but you come home and you're a completely different person, that's not going to build a lot of trust. Your spouse, your partner is going to be wondering, which is real? Who are you? Am I just getting an act, or is the public getting an act, or are they both an act? Is there a real person in there? So consistency is real important. Be predictable and be consistent in who you are, both publicly and privately. When your spouse sees you, your partner sees you in public with your friends, be basically the same person that you are at home with them. Of course, we have, maybe different routines, or we have different inside jokes or whatever with our friends that we have at home, but that's just minor stuff. I'm talking about personality. Be consistent in who you are in the little things. And that might be as simple as, come home from work every day. And if you're not going to, call and say, hey, I'm going to run late today. Or call and say, hey, the guys are going out to get drinks. I'm going to go with them tonight. Whatever. It's not that you can't vary your routines, but let your partner know when it's not going to be consistent. But basically, show up every day after work. Just show up. Just come home. Just things like that. Being consistent builds trust. Being predictable. Knowing what you're going to get. Not being shocked by your personality and what you choose to do. If you're a person who is calm, 75% of the time, but then randomly you just get in a mood and you blow up, that's not consistency. Okay. That's shocking to see a basically calm person most of the time just blow up for no reason, sometimes just to blow off steam. That doesn't build trust. All right. So be predictable. Be consistent. And if you need help doing that, get therapy. If you have an anger issue that blows up sometimes, get therapy for that. If you want your partner to trust you, be consistent. The other thing is be willing to repair after mistakes are made. Okay. Research shows that if you repair things quickly after mistakes are made, if you say something really dumb, you say something hurtful, you say something offensive, you do have that snap, that explosion, and you yell at your partner, the research shows that if you correct that immediately, a very short window after, the repair is a lot easier and a lot more healthy. Okay. So if you end up snapping and saying something and you think, oh, I shouldn't have said that, say that out loud. Okay, come right back and say, oh, I should not have said that. I'm sorry. That came out completely wrong. That was my fault. I apologize. Let me try that again. Let me try to say that much better this time. Those kind of repairs really work well in a relationship when you do it immediately like that, or at least within a close window. Okay. You get mad, you pop off, you storm off. But if you can come back just a few minutes later and say, look, I shouldn't have done that. I lost my temper there. That was wrong. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it like that. This is the way I should have said it. Let me try to say it the right way this time. And so when we do that, we make that repair, we earn trust because, listen, we're not perfect. And our spouse needs to understand we're not perfect. Our partner needs to get we're not perfect. They're not perfect. We're going to say some stuff, do some things that just drop the ball sometimes. That's okay. When we repair immediately after, it builds trust. It shows, okay, they're human. They make mistakes, but they're in the game. They're trying. They really want this relationship to work. And I can trust that even when they make mistakes, they're going to come back. They're going to come back and repair that. And I can trust them knowing that, okay, they're not perfect, but they're working at it. They're working to be consistent. And when they mess up, they'll at least try to repair it. And that really works. It builds trust. And so make sure that even when you make those mistakes, you're right there immediately in a short window to repair, to apologize, to make amends, to do it right. The third thing is to be emotionally available. Okay? Just be there. Just show up, not just physically. I said consistently, come home from work. And if you're not going to come home from work, call your partner and let them know, hey, this is the reason why. That's just polite. That's just good, healthy relationship work. It's consistent. But also be consistent emotionally. Be emotionally available. Let your partner know you're not in this alone. Okay. You are not in life alone. You're not in this house alone. You're not raising these kids alone. You're not dealing with the bills alone. We're in this together. And that is a deep emotional bond that you're building when you do that. Okay. It's not a matter of just showing up physically, but then being emotionally withdrawn. Show up emotionally as well. Show up and be present. Let that relationship matter, even when it's uncomfortable. Okay. Even when things are a little bit strained, show up and put in the work of making the relationship work. We're in this together. And you can even say things. Look, I know this is awkward. I don't know what to say. And you probably don't know what to say at this point because we're just not getting along great. But listen, I'm here. I care. And we're in this together. Okay. I'm here with you. And I want this to work. And even though I'm not really knowing what to say, I'm going to keep working until I do. That we're in this together. That goes so far in building trust, even when there's struggles. So show up emotionally, not just showing up physically to be in the house, but show up emotionally and care, show you're caring on an emotional level. Another thing you can do, the fourth thing, is to listen without fixing. Men, we get accused of this a lot, and for good reason, because a lot of men are wired up this way that when we see a problem, we want to fix a problem. But it's not just about men. Ladies do this too, maybe in different ways sometimes. We're all different, but it's not just a guy problem. But guys, pay attention because we're really good at this one. We're really bad. Listen without fixing. Okay, let a person talk and share whatever's on their mind, and don't immediately jump to telling them how they did it wrong, what they need to do different, that they shouldn't really be upset about this because it's not that big a deal, minimizing what they're going through, jumping to some kind of conclusion, or saying, well, why don't you just do this? Okay, one of the most infuriating things that you can say when a person is really upset about something is, well, why don't you just, whatever you say after that doesn't matter. Because when you put that phrase in there, why don't you just, you've really just minimized. That's what you've just done. You've minimized their problem. You've oversimplified things. You've acted as if they're so dumb that they didn't see this completely obvious answer that you're going to graciously give them at this point. That's just infuriating. Okay? Now, I know people get emotional and they get irrational sometimes, and you may be right. There might be a completely easy solution to this that they're not seeing, but you have to earn the right to say it. And the way you earn the right to say it is listen. Listen, be emotionally available, like we just talked about. Show you care, show you're listening, pay attention, be there for them, show up, including emotionally, and then earn the right. And you can even ask sometimes, do you want me to try to maybe offer a solution, or are you just needing to vent right now? Okay? Goes a long way in building trust. And if they say, I just want to vent, I just need to get this off my chest, let them do it. Okay? There might be the simplest solution in the world. You have to earn the right to give it to them, or you're just going to make matters worse. Listen. That builds trust. When somebody feels like they've really been heard, you've really listened to them, you haven't tried to fix the problem, you're just there emotionally paying attention and caring about the fact that they're upset about something, that is an act that builds a lot of trust in a relationship. That shows I'm here for you. I'm with you. We're in this together. A fifth thing is to respect boundaries. If somebody tells you something, pay attention. If they say no, pay attention. Okay. If somebody says, I just really need some space, give them some space. If somebody says, whatever they say, if they have a boundary, if they are telling you, this is what I need, pay attention to that. And there might be some things a person asks us for that are just impossible, but most things are not. Most things within a relationship are doable. If a person asks us to do something, we probably can. So give them that. Respect what they are asking for, respect their boundaries, respect their wishes as much as possible. Maybe there's some circumstances it's not. Most of the time we can. Most of the time we can respect somebody's wishes. If they tell you there's a particular boundary or there's a particular thing that, they need you to respect, respect it. Respect goes a long way in relationships. It is vital for relationships. And so show that respect. Give them their wishes. If they say they have a boundary, respect that boundary. Maybe you think it's not reasonable, but respect their wishes in that area. And that will build a lot of trust. Again, it shows that I don't have to agree with you, but I love you. I respect you. And I'm going to go along with you on this, even though it may not be a big deal to me. And so if we want to build that trust or build that trust back, showing that kind of respect for boundaries particularly, is crucial. Number 6, be honest without cruelty. Now, this one's important because very often when we were talking about trust, that's very closely aligned with honesty. Okay. If somebody's lying, if somebody's manipulative, if somebody's twisting the truth, obviously that's not going to build trust. And so if we're trying to build trust back, obviously we need to be honest with each other. You can't trust somebody who's lying to you. We have to have honesty. And so sometimes people will say things like, we just got to learn to be honest. We got to be straightforward with one another. We can't trust each other if there's going to be lies and manipulation in this relationship. So let's learn to be honest. That's great. But understand, honesty cannot come with cruelty. Sometimes in the name of honesty, man, we say the worst things. We really hurt each other. And we let ourselves off the hook by saying, hey, I'm just being honest. That's not good enough. We have to be honest with compassion. We have to be honest with love. We have to be honest with caring. We are not going to be honest with cruelty. There are ways to say things. There are ways to communicate things. And there's timing and there's tone. And there's a lot of things that go into good communication. Yes, we need to be honest if we're going to be building trust, but that doesn't give you license to be cruel. It doesn't give you license to say things that hurt the person you love. So don't go down that road. Honesty is not about cruelty. It's not about just getting in that shot. It is about love. It's about communication and working to get your point across, but do it with kindness. Kindness will take you a long way into building that trust. Also, respect the vulnerability of your partner, because especially if you have been through a rough time and you have lost a sense of trust, at least a little bit, maybe a lot, maybe completely, that partner is going to have fears. They're going to have a sense of failure in the relationship. There's going to be apprehension, and it's going to feel very, very vulnerable. Respect that vulnerability. Understand that they might be afraid to trust you. Don't take that personally. And you might be afraid to trust them. Okay? Understand this is a vulnerable time and respect that vulnerability. Remember, I said that's a dance and there's a lot of movement to it. And you have to give and earn at the same time, simultaneously. That's a very vulnerable state. So respect that vulnerability. Give compassion when you sense that your partner is feeling fearful or anxious. It's okay to be vulnerable. Give reassurance, continually reassure. And ask for the reassurance too. And just say, look, I'm feeling kind of nervous about this whole thing. I feel anxious about this. I feel fearful. This feels very vulnerable to me. I think we need to kind of make sure we're checking in with each other and giving some reassurances during this time. Perfectly legit. Respect the idea that vulnerability is going to be there. If you've had a break in your trust or damage to your trust, you're building that back. There's going to be some period of vulnerability, and that's okay. Talk through that. Respect it. And finally, it's going to take time. I've kind of insinuated this through the whole thing. It's this dance that is going to take time. You're going to have to earn it as you are giving trust. You give it and earn it simultaneously, both ways at the same time. That takes time. Give it time. Don't expect to snap your fingers and say, okay, we're going to start trusting each other. Even though we've had this very difficult time, or even though we don't know each other right now and we're just dating, that's not how it works. Take your time, learn to trust each other again, learn to trust each other, maybe for the first time. Let that grow and deepen organically. Let it grow. Take your time to do it. And so that's 8 things that you can do to nurture that dance you're doing, that giving and earning trust at the same time. Go through those. If you need to listen to this show again, go through, write down all those things that you can do, those 8 things to bring into your habits, into your relationship, to nurture the trust that you're building. You do that, you can get there, and you can build the healthy relationship that you want. And that's my thoughts today as we are working to build the healthy, happy, thriving relationships that we all want. This show is brought to you by the Learning Love Foundation. You can find out more at learninglovefoundation.com. Thanks as always to my producer, Abby Graves of Abby Graves Productions, and thank you to all of you for listening. Until next week, love well, everyone.